In the previous sessions, we have started with this module number 5, which is related to executing, monitoring and controlling of the projects. The points whatever we have seen till now were with respect to executing the projects, that is planning, monitoring and controlling cycle, information needs, reporting, engaging with all stakeholders of the project, team management, communication and project meeting. So this 5.1, that is first part of this particular module, it has been already discussed in the previous sessions. In today's session we have to go for the next part, that is monitoring and controlling of the projects using earned value management techniques, using milestones, change request, scope creep and project audit. So these were the parts seen earlier. So today's session we are going to focus on monitoring and controlling of the project. So this particular is a very important diagram as far as the earned value analysis is concerned. If you look at the diagram, you can see on the x-axis there is duration or the timeline, and on the y-axis it is nothing but the monetary value or the cost which is incurred for the various activities which are going to get completed. Now in this particular case we have mentioned here as dollars because it is a international unit for monetary transactions. So this particular graph indicates the monetary transactions versus the duration in the life cycle of your project. Now if you look at the graphs and look at the various terminologies which have been mentioned, you can see there are various points like ST, AT, EV, PV, AC, EAC, BAC, ETC. These are the various terminologies they have been mentioned on this particular diagram. So instead of going into details of what this all about, let us try to understand what are the meaning of these all terminologies first, and then we'll come back to this diagram and try to understand what is the significance of those particular terminologies in this particular earned value analysis graph, which is plotted as it is shown in the figure. So this earned value management, EVM, this is a methodology which combines scope, schedule and resource management or resource measurement to assess the project performance and progress. So basically the three major aspects of any project, that is the scope of your project, the schedule of your project and the resource which are required to complete the project, measuring those resources. So these are some of the very important characteristics of any project which must be combined together, which must be understood and integrated together so that the performance and progress of your project that can be evaluated, that can be assessed. It is a commonly used method of performance measurement for projects. This particular EVM integrates the scope baseline with cost baseline along with the schedule baseline to form the performance baseline, which helps the project management team to assess and measure project performance and the progress of project. Now three important baselines. One is scope baseline, one is cost baseline and third is schedule baseline. So these three baselines, scope, cost and schedule, they must be integrated together so that there will be formation of a common performance baseline, and against this common performance baseline the project performance will be compared, it will be evaluated and the progress of the project can be assessed. This earned value management is a project management technique, and this particular technique requires the formation of integrated baseline against which the performance can be measured for the duration of the project. So either we can go for measuring the performance of the project for entire duration of the project, that is entire life cycle of the project, or we may also go for assessing the performance of the project at any particular period of time in the life cycle of the project. The principles of EVM, that is earned value management, they can be applied to all projects in any industry. So there is no restriction, there is no limitation that this particular technique is applicable only to certain specific kinds of projects or certain specific kinds of industries. These particular EVM techniques can be applied to any kind of project and maybe in any kind of industry. The EVM develops and monitors three key dimensions for each work package and control account. So what are the three key dimensions? They should be understood. One is planned value denoted as PV, one is earned value which is denoted as EV, and third is actual cost which is denoted as AC. So planned value, earned value and actual cost. So these are the three important dimensions, or rather we can say these are the key dimensions which are helpful for earned value management. So even on your diagram you can see here there is PV, there is EV and there is AC. So three terminologies, PV, EV and AC, what we have discussed, they all are available on this particular diagram, which is giving the earned value analysis chart for project management. Now we will go for understanding these various terminologies individually so that we'll come to know the meaning of this particular terminology. So the planned value PV is nothing but it is the authorized budget assigned to scheduled work. So this particular planned value is nothing but for any project you prepare some budget, you get the budget approved from the concerned authorities, the concerned stakeholders or the higher top management authorities, and that is nothing but the authorized and approved budget which is assigned to the particular project. So this particular authorized budget which is assigned to your project is nothing but the planned value. If you are talking about any particular activity in your project and you have certain authorized budget assigned to that particular activity, then we can say it is the planned value of that particular activity. When it comes to the entire project, then we can say it is the planned value for the entire project. It is the authorized budget planned for the work to be accomplished for an activity or work breakdown structure component, not including the management reserve. This particular budget, that is planned value, is allocated by phase over the life of the project, but at a given moment, planned value defines the physical work that should have been accomplished. So whenever we talk about the planned value, ideally this is the overall authorized budget which is assigned, which is allocated for the overall life cycle of your project, the entire project. But whenever you talk about any particular moment, any particular point of time during the life cycle of the project, in that case the planned value will define the physical work that should have got completed by that particular time. So it depends upon the schedule which is prepared. So whatever the activities they were planned, by that time those activities they should have got finished. So whatever has been the budget allocated to those activities, that will be the planned value at that particular moment. The total of the planned value is sometimes referred to as performance measurement baseline. The total planned value of a project is also known as budget at completion. So whenever we talk about the entire project, the total planned value for entire project will be called as budget at completion, or it will be denoted as BAC. The next part which is to be understood is second terminology, which is earned value, that is EV. This earned value is nothing but it is a measure of work performed expressed in terms of the budget authorized for that work. If the budget associated with the authorized work that has been completed. So earned value is nothing but what? In your project at any particular point of time, if you try to understand what is the earned value, then you should try to check how much is the work performed and depending on what is the budget authorized for that particular work, we may be able to understand the work performed expressed in terms of the authorized budget for that particular work. So this is earned value is nothing but it is the budget which is associated with the authorized work that has been completed. So at any particular point of time, the earned value will depend on the work completed and it will not depend on what is the work pending. The earned value being measured needs to be related to the PMB, that is project management baseline, and or the performance measurement baseline, and the EV measured, that is earned value measured, cannot be greater than authorized planned value budget for a component. So EV and PV, these are the two terminologies. When I say planned value, it is nothing but the authorized budget for a particular component. And when I say EV, it is nothing but the budget authorized for the work which is performed. So always the earned value which is measured, it should not be more than the authorized planned value which is budgeted for that particular component of work or for that particular activity. Earned value is often used to calculate percent completion of a project. So whenever we know the earned value, this earned value is useful to understand the percentage completion of your project. Progress measurement criteria should be established for each work breakdown structure component to measure the work in progress. Project managers monitor the earned value both incrementally to determine current status and cumulatively to determine the long-term performance trends. So the earned value is very important parameter for project managers, and the project managers will be always monitoring the earned value based on what is the work performed. So this earned value will be monitored in terms of incremental nature and also in terms of the cumulative format. The incremental format, the earned value will be measured or it will be monitored so that the current status of the project can be determined, and the cumulative method will be used to monitor the earned value so that the long-term performance trends can be determined. Coming to the third terminology, that is actual cost. This actual cost, which is denoted as AC, it is the realized cost incurred for the work performed on an activity during a specific time period. So when we go for actual cost, we try to understand what is the actual expenditure, actual cost which has incurred for completion of a particular task or completion of a particular work. It is the total cost incurred in accomplishing that work that the EV has measured. So when we consider about the EV, that is earned value, we try to understand how much is the work performed, and when we try to understand how much is the work performed, we should also try to understand how much is the actual cost incurred in completion of that particular work. The actual cost needs to correspond in definition to what was budgeted in the planned value and measured in the earned value. So whenever we go for calculation of the actual cost we should correlate with the planned value so that we can understand the budgeted amount, budgeted value of the work which is completed and how much it is measured in the earned value analysis. So when we say about the earned value, the various parameters which we should consider, they are related to direct hours only, the direct cost only, and all the cost including indirect cost. The actual cost will have no upper limit. Whatever is spent to achieve the EV will be measured. So there is no upper limit, there is no boundary for actual cost, because in that particular case whatever has been expended, whatever has been actually the cost incurred to complete a particular activity, that we have to mention as the actual cost. Then next part, after understanding the planned value, earned value, and the actual cost, that is PV, EV, and AC, we have to move further to determine the variances from approved baselines. So whenever we say variances from approved baselines, we have certain standard baseline for schedule, for cost, and for the time. But the actual case may be slightly different. So we need to find out what is the difference between the actual scenario and the planned scenario with respect to schedule, time, and cost. So schedule variance, SV, this is a measure of schedule performance expressed as the difference between earned value and planned value. So whenever we want to calculate the schedule variance, we should take the difference or the subtraction between earned value and the planned value. It is the amount by which the project is ahead or behind the planned delivery date at a given point in time. It is a measure of schedule performance on a project. It is equal to earned value minus planned value. So whenever we get the value for schedule variance, this schedule variance will be nothing but it will be considered as a measure of the performance of your project with respect to its schedule. The earned value management schedule variance is a useful metric so that it can indicate when a project is falling behind or is ahead of its baseline schedule. The EVM schedule variance will ultimately equal to 0 when project is completed because all of the planned values will have been earned. So when your project is completed, the schedule variance must be equal to 0 because whatever you have planned, those values will be earned, and because of which the schedule variance will be 0. Schedule variance is best used in conjunction with critical path methodology, that is CPM, scheduling, and risk management. So this SV, schedule variance, is a very useful tool if it is clubbed, it is integrated along with the CPM, that is critical path methodology, and the risk management techniques. So the equation for schedule variance SV is equal to earned value EV minus planned value, that is PV. Then next is about the variances from approved baselines, that is the second variance, which is cost variance. This cost variance we denote it by CV. This cost variance is the amount of budget deficit or surplus at a given point of time expressed as the difference between earned value and actual cost. So whenever we want to calculate the cost variance, whenever we want to go for estimation of the cost variance, we should consider two parameters: what is the earned value at that particular point of time and what is the actual cost incurred at that particular point of time. So this cost variance maybe we can determine, we can calculate at intermediate stages in project life cycle, and also we can go for determination of the cost variance at the end of the entire project. So this particular cost variance is a measure of cost performance of any project, and this is equal to earned value EV minus actual cost, that is AC. The cost variance at the end of project will be difference between budget at completion and actual amount spent. So whenever we say about the EV, that EV, when we go for the completion of your project and we try to calculate the cost variance at the end of project, then EV will be nothing but the budget at completion. The budget which was planned, which was assigned to the entire project, so that will be the budget at completion, and this budget at completion minus the actual cost incurred in completion of that particular project, that will be the actual amount which is spent. Now this particular cost variance is very critical parameter because this is going to indicate the relationship between physical performance to the cost which is spent. If the value of cost variance is negative, then it indicates that your actual cost is more than your earned value, and this will become difficult for the project or the project team to recover from that particular situation. So that's why the project team must try, the project team must emphasize that the value of cost variance must be positive. In other sense, the actual cost must be always less than earned value at that particular point of time. Then going to the next, that is schedule performance index, that is SPI. Whenever we talk about the schedule performance index, it is, so if we go for schedule variance, we take the difference between EV and PV, and when we go for schedule performance index, we take the ratio of EV and PV. So we should make sure that schedule is related to EV and PV. When we are going for calculation of variance, we should take the difference, and whenever we are going for calculation of the index, performance index, we should take the ratio, either EV minus PV, which will give you schedule variance, and EV divided by PV is going to give you schedule performance index, that is SPI. This schedule performance index SPI, it is nothing but a measure of schedule efficiency expressed as the ratio of earned value to the planned value. So it is a kind of efficiency with respect to the schedule. It measures how efficiently the project team is using its time. It is sometimes used in conjunction with the cost performance index, that is CPI, to forecast the final project completion estimates. And schedule performance index value less than 1 indicates that less work has completed than it was planned. So if the value of SPI is less than 1, means your planned value was more and the earned value is less. So that's why the SPI value is less than 1. So it is not advisable to have your SPI less than 1. At the same time, if the value of SPI is greater than 1, so this will indicate that the work which is accomplished, the work which has got completed, is more valuable, is having more value than the work which was planned. So earned value will be more than your planned value at that point of time. Since the schedule performance index SPI, this measures all project work, the performance on critical path also needs to be analyzed to determine whether the project will finish ahead or behind its planned finish date. So this particular schedule performance index, we should apply, we should try to measure for the critical path, for the critical activities, so that we will come to know whether our project is going to get finished on the given time or ahead of its schedule or behind the planned finish date. The schedule performance index value will be equal to ratio of earned value to the planned value. Second ratio which we should consider is cost performance index, that is CPI. So similar to the schedule performance index, CPI also is having a ratio. The only difference in schedule performance index, the ratio was EV to PV, earned value to planned value. In case of cost performance index, as we need to monitor or check the performance of project with respect to the cost incurred, we should take the ratio of EV to actual cost which is incurred. So earned value divided by actual cost, that will be our cost performance index. So this particular CPI is measure of cost efficiency of budgeted resources expressed as a ratio of earned value to the actual cost. It is considered that most critical EVM metric. So this particular CPI is considered to be one of the most important and critical earned value management metric. And this particular CPI measures the cost efficiency of your work completed. If the value of CPI is less than 1, this will indicate the actual cost is more as compared to the earned value, and it will indicate that the project performance is not satisfactory. So the value of CPI should be always greater than 1, so that the earned value will be more than the actual cost which is incurred in that particular project. The CPI is always equal to ratio of EV to the AC. These indices, either SPI or CPI, they are very useful for determining the status of your project at any particular point of time, and also they are very essential to provide a strong basis for estimating the project cost and schedule of your project. So this is a kind of curve which is called as S curve. The three parameters, that is planned value, earned value and actual cost, if I want to monitor, if I want to represent them, I want to report them to the higher authorities over a standard frequency or over a standard period of time, then this particular S curve is very useful. This will try to express the planned value, earned value and actual cost on cumulative basis. You can observe this diagram of S curve is same as the diagram which we have seen in the first slide for today's session, that is earned value management. This is same as this. So on y-axis, dollars means it is the cost or the budget which is expended, and x-axis we are having the time duration. EAC, BAC, AC, PV, EV. So the same things you will also observe in this particular diagram. So EAC, this is BAC, and here we are having the planned value, earned value and actual cost. So looking at this particular graph, looking at this particular diagram, which is plotted for cumulative cost versus the time duration, we will come to know the performance of the project, whether your planned value exceeds earned value, or the earned value exceeds the planned value, or your actual cost is exceeding the earned value. Whatever is the scenario which will be helpful to determine the cost performance index, to determine the schedule performance index, to determine the schedule variance and to determine the cost variance. So these all parameters will be very essential. Next part is about the change request. It is a formal proposal to modify any document, deliverable or baseline. So in any project, whenever you understand that your project is not progressing as per the requirement, as per the planning, then it will be necessary that there must be some change, there must be some modification in your planned documents, in your planned activities or your project documents. In that particular case, it is not the authority of any person who is working on that particular activity to change or modify the project document. So there must be some standard method using which there will be modification or revisions of the various plans or the various documents which have been prepared for your project. So for that purpose, a formal proposal must be submitted by concerned people, concerned person working on that particular activity, and he should clearly mention the change which is required, the revision which is required in any particular document or deliverable or baseline which has been pre-established or pre-informed to the stakeholders. Once the change request is submitted, then authorities will go through that, they will try to take the decision, and then accordingly there will be change in the appropriate documents. Approved change request will replace the associated document, deliverable or baseline, and may result in an update to other parts of the project management plan. So once the change request is approved by the higher authorities, wherever that particular parameter is referred, in all those places corresponding change must be reflected, and that's why change request must be a formal process. Otherwise it will not get percolated, it will not get transferred to the various activities which may be dependent on that particular document, or that document may be an essential part for any particular activity. When issues are found while project work is being performed, change requests are submitted, which may modify the project policies or procedures, project scope, project cost, project budget, project schedule, project quality, etc. Other change requests cover the needed preventive and corrective actions to forestall negative impacts later in the project. The request for a change can be direct or indirect, externally or internally initiated, and can be optional or legally or contractually mandated. So this change for the request for changing, either there can be a direct methodology or there may be some indirect way of suggesting the changes which are required. The change request may be generated internally or it may be generated external to your organization. The change request may be optional or it may be made mandatory, because keeping in view the progress or the success of your project. The various change requests that may include corrective action, there may be some request for preventive actions, there may be request for defecting the repair, and there may be some request to update the project documents because of the changes in the actual practices. So corrective action, preventive action, defecting the repairs, and updating the documents, these are the various objectives for which the change requests they have been prepared. Another part is related to the scope creep. When we say about the scope creep, you decide certain scope when you start with the project, and as and when the project starts progressing, the scope may get deviated, the scope may get diluted, which is nothing but the scope creep process. So the scope statement which is prepared for any project, the preparation of that project scope statement itself is very critical activity for any project success. Because if the project scope statement is not prepared very thoroughly with extreme care, then the project success will be in danger. This project scope statement, it must be built upon major deliverables, assumptions, and constraints that are documented during the project initiation. During project planning, the project scope is defined and described with greater specificity as more information about the project is known. Existing risks, assumptions, and constraints, they are analyzed for completeness and added or updated as necessary. So whenever you find there is a scope creep, or whenever you are going for preparing the project scope statement, the existing risk, the various assumptions which are taken up, the constraints for your project activities, they should be analyzed so that the project scope statement will be very valid statement. The uncontrolled expansion to product or project scope without adjustment to time, cost, and resources, this is called as scope creep. So whenever we say about scope creep, it is nothing but the expansion to your product or project scope, and this particular expansion is not limited, it is expanding in uncontrolled manner. And whenever there is expansion, this expansion is without any adjustments to the time, cost, and resources. That is nothing but our scope creep. The next discussion is about the project audits. When we say about the project audits, audit is a very common procedure followed in various sectors. Especially, we know about the audit as a terminology which is related to the financial audits. For any firm, at the end of your financial year, all the accounts and the proofs for any transactions in your account, they will be cross checked and they will be validated. That is nothing but your financial audit. Similar to this financial audit, there must be project audit for the various activities and various parameters of your project. This particular project audit is a very basic and primary function of project management office. This project management office is supporting the project managers by monitoring compliance with project management standards, policies, procedures, and templates by means of project audits. So whenever the project audit will be taken up, it will be ensured that whether the activities which are running in that particular project, they are complying with the project management standards, the project management policies, the project management procedures, and the various templates which are given or which are essential for any project. Three types of audits they can be conducted for project life cycle. One is with respect to the quality of your project. Secondly, the audit with respect to the risk associated with the project. And third is the audit related to procurements in your project. When we talk about the quality audit is a structured independent process to determine if project activities comply with the organizational and project policies, processes and procedures. So every project organization will have its own quality policy. So we should check whether the actual scenario in your project is complying with the quality policy of your organization or not. Whenever we are considering the risk audit, in risk audit we are examining and documenting the effectiveness of risk responses in dealing with the identified risk and their root causes, as well as effectiveness of the risk management process. So as we know, for any risk, for any project, the risk management process will involve identification of the risk, analysis of the risk qualitatively and quantitatively, and then responding the risk. That is very essential. So how effectively you can respond that particular risk, that gives you the essence of the success of your project. So whenever we talk about the risk audit, it is nothing but determining the effectiveness of the various response strategies which are planned, which are suggested for any identified risk. The project manager is responsible for ensuring the risk audit are performed at an appropriate frequency as defined in the project risk management plan. So this project risk audit should not be conducted only at the end of your project, but there must be some standard routine frequency. After every cycle, the risk audit must be performed, the risk audit must be in place, so that the project manager will be ensured that the risks which are coming to your project life cycle, the risks which are hampering the project objectives adversely, they have been responded appropriately and the effectiveness of these responses is good. Or what is the effectiveness of these responses, to know that we should go for risk audit at regular frequency. And last part is related to the procurement audit. This particular procurement audit is a structured review of procurement process originating from the plan procurement management process through control procurements. So project procurement management is a separate knowledge area. So when we go for plan procurement management process till control procurement process, that all is nothing but your project procurement management. The objective of procurement audit is to identify the successes and failures that warrant recognition in the preparation or administration of other procurement contracts on the project or on the other projects within the performing organization. So this procurement audit will be helpful in identifying the preparation of procurement process for a particular project and also for all similar projects which are undertaken by that particular organization. The next part is we have to go for understanding the project contracting, which we will discuss in the next session.